One of the biggest mistakes that so many chess players make is that they try to attack their opponent. And in this video, I will teach you why that is a mistake and what you need to do instead. So what I will teach you is a very simple strategy that you can follow no matter what opening you play. And if you follow this strategy, you will start winning more games. For this video, I will keep things extremely simple. So for the opening, I will play knight to f3, pawn to g3, bishop to g2, and I want to castle. And this is actually an interesting opening, I think, for beginners if you don't want to memorize anything. But as I said, you can use the strategy I will teach you no matter what opening that you play. So first of all, for the opening, I think the priority is to keep it simple, to castle, to develop pieces. We have already done a lot of that. And then also, we need to have a pawn in the center. That's just necessary. So I will play pawn to d4, because if we don't fight for the center of the board, meaning these 4 squares, we are eventually going to run into trouble. And my opponent here, they played knight to c6, attacking my pawn, but it is already protected twice. So we have nothing to worry about here. Okay, and now I think we are starting to get into the middle game, and it is in the middle game that you will be able to use my strategy. So I have a very simple strategy that we are going to use. We will not be attacking our opponent. Instead, what we will do is we will keep improving our position, and we are looking for a mistake. We are waiting for the opponent to make a mistake, and believe me, so many of your opponents, if you are below 2200, they will just make mistakes. They will give you free material. You can grab it, and then you can turn that into a winning endgame. So how do we do this? To figure out if we have free material, if they made a mistake, we need to go through the CCT steps. We need to see if we have any checks. We don't. We need to look at every single capture. We don't have any. And then we need to see if we have a simple threat, a threat that would win us material or that would lead to a checkmate. We don't have any simple threat here. And if we don't have anything, we go to the next step, which is optimize. CCTO, checks, captures, threats, optimize. And optimizing means that we will be playing with our E, D, and C pawn, and we want to improve the positioning of our pieces. So I still need to get pieces into the game. I want to get my knight into the game. And here in this opening, I am thinking about playing the move pawn to c4. And if we play pawn to c4, and if they take it, which happened here, we are temporarily down a pawn. But the most important thing is that I opened up this diagonal for the bishop. And as I said, we want to focus on playing with the E, D, and C pawn, which is now gone, and opening up pieces, improving pieces. Okay, so they took here on c4. Of course, we don't want this to be like that for a very long time. We do need to try to win back this pawn. So that is what I am going to do. I am going to try to see if we can win back this pawn. Okay. My opponent is really trying to hold on to the pawn. They just played pawn to b5 so that they can protect this. All right. And it is very important every time your opponent makes a move that you pause and you double check what is this doing, because their move is always doing 2 things. First of all, I look at their piece and I see where can it go on the next move. Wow, they just simply protected this pawn. But I also do something else, something that so many players don't do. I go back 1 move and I look what was their piece doing previously. It was protecting this knight. Oh, okay. So they are protecting this pawn, but they just basically left this knight hanging there. Oh, and we already have a bishop on this diagonal. Well, it looks to me like we might be getting tactics, and this might be one of their first mistakes already. The simplest move that you could possibly think about, I think, is playing knight to e5, because that is a double attack. The only thing is, from experience, I know that this is not the right move, because they can take the knight, and if we take back, they can play knight e5, and the rook is safe. And if we instead go for the rook, they can just take, and the thing is here we are running into some trouble, and the material is actually quite equal. But it is important that we are thinking about the fact that we have this very well-placed bishop here. Okay, so we have no immediate checks, captures, or threats. This would be a threat, but doesn't work at this moment. So this doesn't work. What are we going to do? Well, I still want to win back this pawn. So I will play pawn to a4, because if we can eliminate this one, then we can win that one. And if they had taken this, I would simply have queen a4. And look at this. We have one more piece participating in trying to win that knight. So yes, we are going to just grab this here. Okay, and as I said, things are getting more and more interesting. And all we want to do is just follow this very simple strategy. We do not attack. We wait for a mistake. And every single move they make, we need to double check, is this the mistake? So how do we do that? Checks, captures, threats. So we have no checks, we have a capture. I could capture this rook, and they can capture with the queen. And then the simple question is, maybe now we can do this move, knight e5, because we are attacking the knight. We are attacking the bishop. We are using our knight and bishop together to potentially go for a fork there. And yeah, basically everything is fine. They can no longer do anything with the knight, because they would be dropping a queen, and that's a bigger problem than dropping a rook. And if they try to block the diagonal, sure thing, but we can take, and we are up a piece. So I think the 2100 opponent here already made a mistake. We are already going to win material by playing this combination, knight to e5. So you can clearly see here that we did not need to attack. I didn't try to go for a checkmate. I didn't try to do anything overly aggressive. I literally played the most simple opening possible, and my opponent makes a mistake. And this always happens, no matter the level of your opponent. Yeah, here I took this first. Of course, you could also take that first. It doesn't really matter. Then we are now in the final step of this strategy, which you need to execute perfectly. Otherwise, you still might mess up this game. So the final step starts at the moment where we are up material. So as soon as we are up material, we have to switch our mindset. And right now, the only thing that I care about is trading pieces, because we are up material. That means if I trade everything, we will have one extra knight in the endgame. And one extra knight in the endgame is enough to win an endgame. What we want to do is we want to start trading. We could trade pawns, we could trade pieces, but mostly we want to trade pieces so we can get an endgame where we are winning. So what move should we play? Well, there are a bunch of moves. I think the most important thing will be that we try to use our pieces to basically actively make threats. I'm going to actually protect this first. This was a little bit of a problem, like this pawn was hanging. We don't want to blunder back material. Okay, they just castled, so I'm looking at something like knight e3 winning the pawn, but actually I think I might try bishop g5 here, because hey, this might be a trade. Like if he took my bishop, that would just be one more trade. He didn't. He is smarter than that, but okay, we are just going to move back the bishop anyways. All right, queen is trying to win a pawn. It is still important, of course, that we watch out for counterplay, which means that we need to keep paying attention to every single move they make and do that double check. What is it doing now? What was it doing previously? We need to keep doing that. And right now it's trying to win a pawn here, which I don't really like. So I'm going to move my queen and see if I can protect the pawn. Maybe the most interesting move, I think, is potentially queen here, because we are also proposing a trade. And I told you that trading is important. Well, trading queens is even more important, because the queen is their strongest piece if they want to set up any type of counterplay. We still need to watch out that we don't lose this pawn. So yeah, let's just get the rook in here so we can protect it. Look at this. They just gave us another trade. Of course we are going to take it. That is just perfect. And they take back with the knight. All right, everything is really going amazing in this game. But this is still complicated. I know many of you could probably still mess up this endgame, so I will teach you exactly how you need to win an endgame like this. In the endgame, we need to really identify what is our advantage and what is their advantage. Our advantage is an extra knight. Okay, simple. Their advantage is an extra pawn. That is one. They have one extra pawn. Plus, look at this. They have 4 pawns storming down the board, and we only have 2 pawns to stop them, which means if we are not careful, eventually they might create a passed pawn, a pawn that can queen, and we don't want that to happen. So what I am still doing, I'm looking to see if I can activate my pieces as much as possible, and I'm still looking to see if I can do trades. That is very important. This knight is very well placed because we are also attacking that pawn. In the endgame, it is also crucial that you start using your king. And this is a mistake that so many players make. They just keep their king on the square. It is after they castle. That is wrong. We need to use our king. I will quickly throw in the move h4 here, just because we can stop them from pushing. This knight and pawn are working together. And I am trying to rush my king. Where do you need to use your king? Most of the time in the center of the board. That is very important. So my opponent is doing a good job here. Or if there is a specific area on the chessboard where there is some tension going on, for me, that is here on the queen side, we need to get our king closer to that so that we can make sure we have one extra piece there to protect if necessary. Okay, they just played this move, knight to c6, attacking the pawn, but it is already protected, so I don't really see any troubles. Okay, but this is still going to be quite an endgame. There are a lot of things we can do. What I am trying to do is I'm firstly trying to just be safe. We don't want to lose anything. And I'm also looking to see if I could at some point open up the position a little bit, because we do really need to try to break apart these pawns. So I think what I will do is play b3, and if they take, that would be excellent, because if they take, I would take back with the rook, and that would already be one pawn that's gone, and we have less things to worry about. But this is also great, because my knight is setting up a blockade. Their pawn cannot advance, their rook cannot really do anything. I'm looking here if there is any move that instantly wins the game. Like, I'm trying to see if I can trade rooks, but I think he would be able to play rook to b2. So I don't see it yet, but we are just going to keep using our pieces, which means eventually we are going to be fine. My opponent is being very tricky here. They are trying to make us trade, but if we trade, they are making a queen, and there is no way we can stop that. So we have to be careful. I will have to move my king here to protect my rook. So you can already see it's now useful that we have this king here. Otherwise, we might have been in trouble. And I was just thinking simply about this plan. Knight to d3, and like we just have two knights looking at this. So that is perfectly fine. My opponent just played pawn f5, and I think if we go for this check, we are winning a pawn in any case, because we are just attacking two pawns at the same time, which is fine. Okay, and we can get out of there, and I think we can win this pawn as well. So yeah, we just won two pawns just like that. We didn't have to do anything at all. And the good thing here is we were able to neutralize their advantage. Their advantage was these pawns, while it's completely neutralized. This is blocked. This is completely blocked. Nothing is going on. Plus, look at this. We have a pawn that we can use to promote. We have a passed pawn, so that's clearly going to help us win the game. We also have a check here, and I think we can literally also just win this pawn as well. So basically their entire position has just collapsed. We are just picking up pawn after pawn after pawn, and they can do nothing about it. So everything fine. I will just go back with my knight, make sure everything is working together. And now we have multiple plans. We can push here, or we can try to push here. But as long as we keep pushing our pawn, let's quickly check that we don't lose anything actually here. I will play e3. So at least I'm not losing that pawn. And as long as we keep pushing this pawn, we are going to win the game. And that is the most important endgame skill that you need to learn. You need to try to create what is known as a passed pawn. That is a pawn that can promote. And the moment that you have one, you worry about nothing. I'm not even looking at his moves anymore. I'm worried about nothing. I'm just going to keep pushing my pawn, and eventually I will make a queen. And from there, it should be easy, because you either have an extra queen, or they have to sacrifice some of their last material. So what should we do here? I think we should actually go and make ourselves a second queen, because there is literally nothing that they can do. We still have the king and knight, who are both protecting, and this should be a very simple endgame. There's not even any reason to protect this knight or anything. All we need to do is just make a queen. And I hope that you also agree that this is a very simple endgame. what I am going to do to start is I'm just going to pick up this pawn, because then we don't have to worry about anything. And now we are simply going to do the ladder checkmate. The ladder checkmate, which means we want to push the king to one of the edges of the board. So I'm trying to get them to the side of the board so we can do a checkmate. So I think so all we need to do there is we need to play queen to g3 and then rook to h2, and that will be a checkmate. So please try out this strategy in one of your own games and let me know how it went.